Pablo Escobar and El Chapo come to mind when you think of dangerous and brutal drug lords, but ever since Miguel Feliz Gallardo, also known as El Petrino, took control of the entire Mexican drug trade and founded the infamous Guadalajara cartel, many other individuals have attempted to expand their organized crime empires. There are still several dreadful drug lords operating, even though Escobar has been dead for a while, and El Chapo is imprisoned in the highest security jail in the U.S. Let's explore their stories today. Number 1. Jesus Alfredo Guzman Salazar. As the son of former Sinaloa Cartel boss Joaquin Guzman Loera, Jesus Alfredo Guzman Salazar holds a prominent position inside the organization. Investigations by law enforcement agencies reveal that Guzman Salazar and his brother, Ivan Archivaldo Guzman Salazar, assisted their father in several operational tasks, including coordinating the transport of drugs from Central and South America to Mexico, the transport of drugs into the United States, distributing drugs to wholesale customers in the United States, and collecting drug proceeds from customers in the United States for transfer to Mexico. Their strategies to defend their organization have included obtaining firearms and other weapons, buying off corrupt public officials, using violence and threats of violence, abducting law enforcement officers, other drug traffickers, and members of their drug trafficking organizations, as well as threatening them. The Guzman Salazar brothers have gained more influence within the Sinaloa Cartel as a result of their father's arrest, extradition, and subsequent conviction in the Eastern District of New York. They have increased their operations by setting up advanced fentanyl laboratories in Culiacan, Mexico, and by using air, sea, and underground transit in addition to border crossings and tunnels. On August 6, 2009, and again on February 17, 2016, federal grand juries in the Northern District of Illinois returned superseding trial accusing Jesus Alfredo Guzman Salazar and other conspirators of breaking Title 21 U.S.C. 846 conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute and to distribute more than 5 kilograms of cocaine and more than 1 kilogram of heroin, and Title 21 U.S.C. 963 conspiracy to import more than 5 kilograms distribution of more than 1 kilogram of heroin. Do you guys know that for information that leads to the arrest or imprisonment of Jesus Alfredo Guzman Salazar, the U.S. Department of State is offering a reward of up to $5 million. Number 2. Ismael Zambada Garcia. Ismael Zambada Garcia, also known as El Mayo, effectively became the new public enemy number 1 of Chicago and the city's most wanted fugitive after the U.S. State Department increased the prize for his capture from $5 million to $15 million. Since taking over for the infamous drug lord El Chapo 5 years ago, El Mayo has been the head of Mexico's Sinaloa Cartel. Over the years, El Mayo has been hiding out. He is 73 years old, supposedly in poor condition, and might not be on the run anymore. He worked as Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's right-hand guy for many years. Mayo was the one who took charge when Chapo was captured in a gunfight in 2016. At the time, El Chapo was only eligible for a $5 million reward, and El Mencho, the leader of the rival New Generation cartel, is now only eligible for a $10 million prize. According to law enforcement officials, these two cartels are the source of almost all of the illegal street drugs that are sold in Chicago. According to Robert Bell, special agent in charge of the D in Chicago, Mexican cartels are generating massive volumes of fentanyl clandestinely, unlawfully, in industrial-sized labs in Mexico. El Mayo's $5 million reward has increased to $15 million, making him the most expensive fugitive in Chicago, where he is being sought in connection with El Chapo's multi-count federal narcotics indictment from 2009. Ed Farrell, a former deputy U.S. Marshal in Chicago, stated, "If they're able to get El Chapo, it stands to reason that they might get El Mayo. The difference is that El Chapo was a lot more outgoing and upfront since he was younger." El Mayo has been successful because, in contrast to some of the other cartel figures who have either been killed or caught, he has always largely operated in the shadows. Farrell claimed that compared to a few years earlier, Mexican law enforcement was more cooperative. According to Ed Farrell of Silver Star Protection Group, taking this person down will be symbolic in nature and would also take away the mentor for El Chapo's kids, who are the organization's obvious heirs. Mexican authorities believe El Mayo is there, and American officials are hoping that the hefty reward will serve as enough motivation for someone to turn him in. The biggest reward for a wanted person in Chicago is $15 million, but it's not the most in the country. Ayman al-Zawahiri, the terrorist organization's leader, is wanted for $25 million. Number 3. Yulen Adne Archaga Carriers. We should fly from Mexico and travel to Honduras, where one of the most dangerous drug lords may be hiding out. In the Southern District of New York, Archaga Carriers is facing federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, conspiracy to import cocaine, and possession and conspiracy to possess machine weapons. According to allegations, Archaga Carriers oversaw MS-13 criminal activity in Honduras and supplied cash, weapons, and drugs to the MS-13 organization's operations in Central America and the U.S. In addition, Archaga Carriers is accused of ordering and taking part in the deaths of MS-13 and rival gang members, as well as assisting in the transportation of tons of cocaine from Honduras to the United States. Joint Task Force Vulcan is looking into this incident. Acting Assistant Director Jay Greenberg of the Criminal Investigative Division said, "Today's statement reflects the dedication of the FBI to aggressively prosecute transnational criminal groups like MS-13. Wherever wanted fugitives like Archaga Carriers to seek asylum, we will cooperate with our law enforcement allies to find them and hold them accountable for their crimes." A Hispanic man named Yulen Adne Archaga Carriers was born on February 13, 1982, in Honduras. He is 160 pounds, 5 feet tall, and has brown eyes and black hair. He goes by the name Porky. Robert William Fisher has been replaced on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list, which was created in March 1950 by Yulen Adne Archaga Carriers. Since then, 526 fugitives have been added to the list, 490 have been caught or found, 162 of them thanks public involvement. A reward of up to $100,000 is being offered by the FBI for information that results in Yulen Adne Archaga Carriers' capture. Number 4. El Mencho. Nemesio Osgura. Given his advanced age of 50, Cervantes is at the pinnacle of his criminal career. Osgura, also known as El Mencho, rose to the top of the most wanted list in Mexico and the U.S. after being named the head of the new generation Jalisco cartel. He is the second most sought-after Mexican in the country. For the murder of Enrique Kiki Camarena, a former agent of the United States Drug Enforcement Administration, Rafael Caro Quintero, also known as El Narco de Narcos, is the first. But just after that, Nemesio Osgura, El Mencho, the head of CJNG, is listed as one of the people most wanted. Because the vast majority of Mexican narcos in his time were either imprisoned or ruthlessly killed, Osgura Cervantes' narrative is exceptional. The U.S. Department of Justice's indictment claims that El Mencho has been in charge of CJNG, or its embryonic version, at least since 2000 and has succeeded in spreading it to most of Mexico's states as well as several American cities. However, he started his career in the drug trade much earlier. Nemesio Osgura Cervantes, one of 6 brothers from an avocado-growing family, was born on July 17, 1966, in Naranjo de Chila, a village in southeast Michoacan. According to legend, he was baptized under the name Ruben but given the name Nemesio in honor of his godfather. Others claim that he was born in Uruapan or Aguililla, while still others claim that he was born in the municipality of Naranjo de Chila. Maybe it was the latter because he was employed to take care of the Valencia family's avocado fields there when he was just a little child who had just finished his 5th year of elementary school. This family, originally referred to as the Avocado Cartel, gave rise to the Millennium Cartel when they switched to growing marijuana and poppies. They were so dominant in their homeland that Jose, one of them, was even elected mayor in 1989 on the PRD's nomination. El Mencho joined them as a plantation watchman and then a trafficker while still a young adult. He must have had other dreams, too, since a few years later, he packed up and relocated to Northern California in the USA. By the time he was 20 years old in 1986, he had already emigrated to the U.S. He resided in the San Francisco Bay Area of California, where he joined a gang that trafficked heroin and methamphetamine and attempted to establish a clientele as a dealer. Abigail Gonzalez Valencia, El Cuini, the brother-in-law of Osgura Cervantes, according to a story by American journalist Josh Eels in Rolling Stone magazine based on information from U.S. officials, instructed him in the drug trade. When he and his older brother Abraham Osgura supplied heroin to 2 undercover police officers in 1986, they were both arrested. In 1992, they were both condemned to federal prison and later deported. A backup image of the incident depicts the 19-year-old Mencho with pimples on his face and a hooded sweatshirt. His first child, Jessica Johanna Osgura, was born 2 months later. In 1997, after being released from prison, he joined the Tomatlan, Jalisco Municipal Police Force. There he met Nacho Coronel of the Pacific Cartel and the brothers Nava Valencia of the Millennium Cartel, another name for the Chapo Guzman criminal enterprise. Due to his prior experience in that nation, El Mencho joined them after quitting the police force and worked as a sort of security advisor and strategic component in the trafficking of synthetic drugs to the United States, according to Eels. Since CJNG was established in 2011, El Mencho has quickly managed to spread throughout the majority of Mexico and has an international presence in the United States, Colombia, and, unconfirmed, Canada, Argentina, Holland, Ghana, Nigeria, Morocco, Russia, China, South Korea, Germany, Peru, Central America, Bolivia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Poland, Australia, and Cambodia. Various reports claim that by 2018, El Mencho would have surpassed the Sinaloa Cartel in terms of drug trafficking. According to the local press, Oscar Cervantes hides in the Jalisco Mountains and has kidney problems, which confine him to a bed and requires him to do dialysis, so his lieutenants would manage the organization. He is allegedly susceptible to the COVID-19 pandemic because of his condition. The criminal was dealt a blow by the Mexican and American governments in February 2020 when Mencho's daughter, Jessica Johanna Oscar Gonzalez, was detained while she was present at one of her brother's court appearances, and his son, Ruben Oscar Gonzalez, also known as El Menchito, was deported back. Thanks for watching.